happened. It was just like yesterday that it just happened, and I can't believe that it's been 4 years.
But at our ages, it's a lot less running away from something and running towards something. So we are back in Vince's awesome apartment. You may have remembered Vince and I recorded a couple episodes early this year, and people liked them, and we wanted to come back and get more of Vince's story. And he wrote articles actually for the website about 90 days out, 60 days out, 30 days out, coming to Paris. But now we're actually coming up on 4 years. So when did you get here originally, Vince?
November 2021.
November 2021. We're recording this in July 2025. So one of the things I want to do is reflect with Vince. And I think one of the funny things was, with everything going on, he's leaving America, and I remember how hectic that was. I somehow loop him into coming to a book club. He's been in France like 7 minutes. By the way, Vince, we're going to be talking about The Guns of August or some other World War I, World War II book. Vince shows up to the book club, and dazed and confused, where am I? And then he says, I'm here, I'm going to have a good conversation. And you can see part of the book club was him just trying to stay awake. That he was on the struggle bus. And I suppose I never asked you how you were feeling at that moment. I just assumed you into a Parisian life. You showed up, and I said, you're coming to a book club, just as if it was Tuesday night. He'd been in town, and when we go around the table, people say, who you are or whatever. So how long have you been in Paris? It's like, I don't know, 48 hours? 24 hours? And everyone just laughed, like, Steven brought this guy to a book club. And I think I just wanted Vince to assume normality, and that if that happens, you can accelerate into regular life sooner rather than later. I never had any of that when I came. I was all by my lonesome, and because I was digging in trying to understand my visa, it was months before I really made any friends. And Vince was the opposite. Vince made a ton of friends early on, was talking to everybody, was talking about the newspaper kiosk guy. And so let's go back to that book club night. You're sitting there with us. What are you thinking and feeling? Apart from book club, just Vince.
It was a confusing time because in one sense I was so excited to be in Paris again. And there was definitely something quite exciting about the potential of the future. That I felt like a portal was closing. My LA life was closing. And Maddie, my cat, and I were here in Paris, and I felt like cellularly I was going to transform into somebody different.
Why?
Learning French, speaking French, being in Europe, doing all of these kinds of things that I wouldn't be able to do in the States.
And that was going to take you from caterpillar to butterfly?
Yeah, but I was also, again, confused. Not confused, but emotionally distraught. I left my grandmother. And I didn't know she was going to be... I didn't know if I was going to see her again. And it turned out that I didn't. She passed away less than a year after I moved. I'd only months before broken up with a girlfriend who I was really in love with. I was saying goodbye to my assistant director life, like really saying goodbye. I was excited about starting my creative coaching company. So there was a lot of really interesting emotions, and one of the biggest parts was just taking care of Maddie and making sure that she was being fed, and because she was just having a hard time, like even 2 days into it, didn't want to eat, and and I was in this little place. But the potential of Paris was very fresh and exciting still. So it happened. It was just like yesterday that it just happened, and I can't believe that it's been 4 years now that I've been in Paris. It really does feel like just yesterday.
So when did that sense of anything is possible begin to clash with the reality of what you were experiencing? One of the interesting things about you is you've had a lot of resets, I feel like. Strategic resets, accidental resets, but resets nonetheless. And for me, there's a similarity in that I had portals open when I upgraded my apartment. So when you're in a studio apartment, at least I could have now, I look back on it, but I wasn't brave enough to really invite people to hang out at my studio, my 6 square meters and my 8 square meter studio apartment. It's really when I moved to the second and I had 29, 35 square meters, something like that, where I started having dinner parties and I started inviting, and I had this group of friends. So I had a tape delay of about 2 years to really start having a very rich social life in Paris. Vince had a delay of about 3 seconds, 5 seconds. He was right into it. And so with that acceleration, I think there's also the acceleration of a reset, because you're experiencing more faster, then you can reset faster. And maybe I'm resetting slower because I had a slower start. But when you think about those resets, do you think that that's a Vince thing, a Paris thing, expat thing?
What do you mean? What, can you clarify? Like,
yeah, I remember
if it's a Paris thing or a Vince thing. What do you mean by that?
When we think about resets, and your particular resets in Paris, do you think that that's something everyone goes through when they come to Paris? Do you think that's something all expats go through? Is that something Vince goes through? Could other people relate to it if you were to describe what the reset was for you? Or do you think it's Vince-centric?
Yeah, I think it's Vince-centric. I mean, everybody comes here for their own reasons that I don't necessarily understand. Everybody has their own reasons why they want to leave the States for whatever. I thought that we would have things in common, but I don't hang around with a lot of expats.
I remember some people telling me they were on a beach in Thailand, and these are early 20s kids. But they're walking on the beach, and one of them turns and says, "Well, what is it you're running away from?"
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think in your early 20s that's easy.
Yeah.
But at our ages, it's a lot less running away from something and running towards something. I very much feel when you're talking about the caterpillar to butterfly metamorphosis, that idea is, yes, I am running away from this, but I am running towards something that I think is going to help transform me. Not simply running away and I'll take any port in a storm. I'll go anywhere. You intentionally chose Paris for specific reasons. And you'd also had some experience behind you that I and most people didn't have, which was you'd lived here for months before.
Yeah, 3 months in summer of 2016.
Right, so you'd had some sense of what Paris could mean for you.
Yeah.
And then that materialized in part of the decision to move.
Yeah, I look, I still love Paris. I almost 4 years into it, I think this is still my base. I don't have a lot of pure French friends. I have a couple. My tennis coach is a dear friend of mine, but he lives in Montargis. It's really changed, I think, going into the fall of 2024.
Okay.
I had just finished a leg of shooting of my movie, and I had been a bit let down by the team that I recruited to do my movie, and so I started to feel a bit more cynical about being in Paris.
Okay.
Feeling let down, feeling like the work ethic of Europeans in general. I mean, I only had 5 people, so I can't say this about the entire continent, of course, but I was just starting to second guess the friends that I was making. I mean, I had around 30 people at my birthday party last year in March. This year I didn't have a birthday party, but I've had different get-togethers, and only 2 of those people I still really stay in contact.
And what do you attribute that to?
I think I was just really open-minded about just having people in my life, different kinds of people, really being open-minded about different cultures, different ways that people experience the world. And I just don't like a lot of small talk or a lot of like superficiality, and I just find that I'm no better than anyone else. I just don't have a lot of. I want to have really deep, intimate conversations with people. I want to have. I want to look people in the eye and connect and share things, and I just find people can be still pretty superficial.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's a Paris thing necessarily, or it's just a me thing. I just know this. I can't go back into the States now because of it's just cheaper for me to live in Paris.
Cheaper
And
to live in Europe in many places.
food is amazing. I live in a neighborhood that
It's a neighborhood.
It's a real neighborhood. It's like a neighborhood that you would build in a movie, right? But you never really get in the States unless you live, you're paying primo dollars to live in, New York City, or let's say Los Feliz in Los Angeles or something like
Right.
that. But here, there's restaurants lining the street. Two of them are in cooking magazines.
Yeah, you took me to one the other day
Yeah.
on a Vince Magical Mystery Tour.
And it's so I love it for that, for sure. I love the movies. I love being able to go to the movies. I love being able to travel to different countries at a moment's notice. I love that big events are here. The French Open is here, Wimbledon. I mean, I'm a big tennis fan and player, as you know, and so being able to go to Wimbledon at the last second is super cool. I do love the European lifestyle very much.
So coming up on 4 years, are you contented with the move? I'm using the word contented as opposed to happy. I always tend to tell people that happiness is a occasional byproduct of moving in the right direction, and happiness isn't an end goal, simply a byproduct. But contentedness can occur and eventuate. So I suppose that would be the question. Content doesn't mean you don't want anything more, but as far as things are going, are you satisfied with the move and what's happening for you?
I love my apartment. I wish I had close friends, and I don't. And that could just be because I'm just not easy to get along with.
Okay.
I don't necessarily want a partner just to have a partner, but I would like to have a close, intimate person to be able to share my life with and share my day and do events with, particularly in Paris. I mean, there's so much going on all the time, and in the summer,
Can't believe how much is going on.
there's just so much to do all day long, all the time. But I'm an interesting cat because I have just different kinds of interests. I love live music. I love going to museums, but I also love going to sporting events. I love, going late night dancing if I need to. Just have a lot of interests that I don't find people who can keep up with that idea.
Okay.
So I've just kind of resigned myself to just having friends for these particular kinds of things, or just going by myself. And I think there's a sense of solitude that I'm really starting to enjoy, because I'm directing and writing a movie right now, a feature film, and I find that going into deep solitude is important for me, because I wasn't conditioned to do that all my life. I was always needing somebody. I think, pretty hard case of codependency, I think. And I needed people. I think it was, it was a thing of, I liked numbing myself, I guess, in a sense, by having friends. And I do. I love having conversations with people. I just, so I think I'm just appreciating being able to be alone. I find myself scrolling on Instagram a little too much because I miss my friends at home in the States, and I find I am disappearing in their lives. It's been almost 4 years now. So, in my sense, my mentality about being in the States is kind of frozen in formaldehyde. because I still think that I'm still on the same.
Well, it's not just frozen. It's back on the shelf, and it's been covered over by other things that are on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because I think about Vince serving up food at a tailgate for a Rams game. I've seen that picture before. It's like, well, that picture's not only frozen, it's now covered up by other memories for other people. Because I told you the other day I was walking around Paris, and I was struck by the brutality of the fact that it just moves on. If you leave, no one's missing you. And that's not just Paris, that's New York, that's Shanghai. Any big city, it's not missing you. It's got too much going on to be missing little old you. But you will definitely miss it. So as you're looking back at that life, that's part of the trade-off that anyone makes when they come here. And I suppose that's potentially a way for us to wrap up this particular discussion is the trade-offs. The caterpillar to butterfly. Staying on the path, using solitude to get there. Do you feel like you have a timeline? Happy, contented with the direction of travel that you're doing? Is Paris helping you to do what it is that you want to do? Yeah,
most definitely. I enjoy that part of it. I really appreciate being here. I mean, look out the window and it's just gorgeous. It's postcard gorgeous.
It is.
I mean, so I can't, I don't pshaw that at all. So I'm just kind of riding the wave right now. I call this the Paris 3-year itch.
Okay.
I think you get into it 3 years and you're like, I mean, for me at least, it's like, okay, so it's not, I've settled in, Maddie, my cat, died, and I still, I suffer through that a little bit. I miss her a lot, and, it's lonely at times, and sometimes, I can hear people cheering at the bar, cheering aloud at the bar. They're watching the PSG soccer game, and I just wish I could go over there. And I could, but sometimes it's just like I don't want to stand there, and nobody's talking to me, and I'm not speaking French. And it's just annoying sometimes. So I'm just enjoying being by myself. Where I don't know where I'm gonna be this time next year. I mean, who knows? I'm just accepting the idea that I'm really staying here in the present. The biggest thing that I really am acquiring cellularly as a human being is this nice ability to just roll with the punches and really be flexible and not be so constrained by itinerary or an agenda or a checklist. Yes, am I still American in that way? Going for it. I'm doing my movie, and I still have a lot of ambition in that way. I play a lot of tennis, but I'm just kind of I'm just taking it all in one moment at a time, I think. And that sounds cliche, but I'm really just accepting it.
But that doesn't change the desire to be here and to work through the difficulties.
As opposed to moving back to the States?
Right.
Oh, God, no. I mean, it's a shit show over there. I mean, that's another episode.
Because I think where I'm trying to make the connection is people say, well, I'm thinking about moving to Paris, and here Vince is telling me, hey, it gets lonely, it gets tough. The alternative is going back. And for you, that's not an option.
Two things, like I said, I got my knee checked out by the sports doctor of the women's professional soccer team here, and it cost me €60. No health care. I have health care now, but no health care. So the day that can be a thing, the day that our government stops telling lies, and
that's never going to be a thing.
This is somebody who served my country, we both did. So I'm still just kind of just in shock about all that right now. So I don't want to go back, and I really love it here. I do. I do love the French. I mean, they're hard to adjust to, and they're different. I mean, it's not the French. It's like everybody's.
It's the Cambodians, the Vietnamese, the Filipinos.
Yeah, they're all
the Pakistanis.
So but I love it, man. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great way for us to end. We are going to continue these relaxed postcard. We might call these postcard conversations. But thanks, Vince, for being willing to be vulnerable. Sometimes I think on YouTube and other social media platforms, it's all toxic positivity. Everything's great all the time. And I think Vince is bringing a little bit of balance, showing you there can be some tough times, but that doesn't crash the ship. The tough times are part of the journey, and you accept that.
Of course.
All right, so until the next time, a bientôt.
À bientôt.